bring some pals, and there's also therapy too.
All right, everyone, look alive. We've got Save JJ's coming up, and it's amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we wanted to start out, though, with Dalon J. Holland, who sent in some voice memos because he was actually in the previous episode, and he was one of the interns that April tries to dissuade from being in the parks department, being an intern, and he's the one who said he grew up, well, the character anyway, said he grew up going to Ramset Park and he's super into it. And he was, I believe, the first intern that spoke. And we just didn't get a chance to get it before or for his actual episode. So he sent us in some really cool voice memos and was super happy to do it. So let's go ahead and listen to that first one. Thank you so much for sending in.
Good morning or afternoon, Park Pals podcast. Hope you are doing well, Holly and Maddie. I appreciate you guys reaching out. It was a pleasant surprise to get the email in reference to my episode. It was quite a while ago, but I'll try to answer your questions as best as possible. Hope you guys had a great holiday.
The holiday he's talking about / referencing is the 4th of July, because I sent this around the 4th of July time, just in case you care about how the sausage is made. And I don't really mind these episodes not being evergreen. Like, I don't really mind saying the time and date. So that's what that's about. All right, listen to the first one.
How did I get the job on Parks? Did I watch the show? My agent at the time sent over the audition. I believe it was just a quick co-star. But one of my early auditions moving out to LA, I got out here in 2012. Can't say I remember exactly what the sides were, but I do remember that they were different sides than I ended up actually booking on the show. But you know how things change with episodes and writing and things like that. But yeah, the sides were slightly different than I had. I think when I initially auditioned, there was a second scene, which would have been awesome to do, just to get a little more time on set and soak in that experience. But I booked and was able to honestly get to set and have a great time. But yeah, the sides were different. The initial sides for the audition were different than the actual scene when it came to performance day. I can't say I remember any of the specific details of the sides, but I do remember that there was a second scene for the audition, which I was looking forward to having 2 scenes. But I guess things changed in the writing, so I ended up doing just 1 scene, which was still a fantastic experience. I wouldn't trade it at all. That was my first network or gig. Initially a shocker and I could say maybe a little overwhelming when I first got there, but I think I settled in pretty well and got comfortable pretty fast, which was nice. Dayton didn't go nearly as long as I would have liked it to. They ran a tight ship, so we were able to get in, get out in a pretty good time.
Yay. Yeah. I love hearing the changes from the audition to the actual day on set. It's always so interesting how they change the sides or how they cut a scene or whatever. I mean, you're not the first person that's happened to, but super cool that that was your first network thing. What a fun, amazing accomplishment to have Parks and Rec be your first one. I would have been so excited as well. And yeah, we have heard that, especially in this last season, they knew what they were doing. They got the guest stars in and out in under 2 hours, at least from what I've been hearing, apart from maybe a random, time that I wasn't aware of. But yeah, okay, cool. Thanks. Let's listen to the next one.
My day on set, let's see, there was, I remember waking up at 4:00 in the morning. Not my favorite time to wake up, but there was a 5:30 call time, 5 or 5:30. So I wanted to give myself enough time. I think I actually, out of excitement and the anticipation, I woke up ahead of my alarm, which again, is someone who doesn't like to wake up early. Waking up at 4 or slightly earlier normally would sound like a nightmare, and that day, of course, it was a dream. I was stepping closer into my dreams, my dream career, getting to go to set and film, something that's always welcomed. And let's see, that day we were on lot. It was my first time driving onto a major studio lot. I remember getting the guest pass, the visitor's pass, driving in, finding parking, all before the sun even like made it into the sky. The day before, they had sent out menus for breakfast options, and I just remember ordering, something simple, French toast. I didn't want to get too wild. Long story short, I got there. PA came in, brought the food, and we're like, we noticed, you only ordered one order of French toast. You didn't want anything else, like no eggs, nothing to go with it, orange juice. And it was at that moment I was like, oh, the sky is my oyster. Like, the kitchen is the option for breakfast. So I definitely added a few more things to the breakfast list: eggs, hash browns, orange juice. So they treated us well in that regard. As far as like the cast and the crew, everyone was honestly very nice and welcoming from what I can remember. Overall, that day on set was a massively positive experience. I can say I was mildly anxious with the anticipation. Not a nervous or a scared kind of anxious, but this is a whole new kind of thing for me. But very excited to get going and to see what the big sets are like and see what that experience would be, and how the start of hopefully a long future in acting would go. Yeah, I mean, it was a wonderful experience for the first time. I had my own dressing room, of course. We were on lot, so there wasn't like a honey wagon or anything, but a lot of set, they say, is hurry up and wait, and there was a good amount of hurry up and wait. Just looking over sides, kind of assuming and being curious about what to expect. Of course, got transported to hair and makeup, and back to wait a little longer, and then back again for wardrobe, and then back to wait a little longer. It was interesting, like walking through the set and just kind of taking everything in. Amy Poehler, who was directing that episode, super nice, very busy as a director in the director's seat, but very nice and welcoming. We, I think, went over as a group maybe once or twice, and then the tapes got rolling. It was, again, wonderfully positive experience on that set. And then working with Aubrey and the rest of the cast on that scene was very fun and very interesting.
Yay, that's so cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 4 a.m. I hear is a common call time to get to set. So that's really funny that you had that. And of course, I do that too, where the anxiety just makes you wake up earlier. Oh my gosh, always wake up before the alarm. And the breakfast options, what a fun little tidbit anecdote, because that's funny that, you're like, I'm just going to keep it casual. I know, I would have done the same thing, like toast and eggs the end. You know what I mean? But that's funny that they were like, you can have it all. And so that's funny. And yes, I didn't actually say this before, but this was the Gryzzlbox episode. So just in case the listener is listening being like, wait, which episode was it? It was the episode that we just reviewed. Sometimes guest stars come on like a couple episodes after, but it was the Gryzzlbox episode. So yeah, just a heads up. Okay, let's listen to the next one.
On a personal note, I do love parks. I do love our national parks, our small parks. I'm a fan of nature. Not a big fan of the bugs, but I love the trees. I love lakes and streams, all that good stuff. Small climbs of like mountains or hills. Similar, but not exactly like Percy. I did grow up near a park, but it wasn't Ramset Park. It was a park called Catalpa. Just super basic, some rolling hills, maybe a local kind of city block across and wide. But I spent a lot of time at that park playing with friends. That one and another nearby park. So getting that line about loving parks it rings true. I would say there's a little bit of me in every character that I play. Just like I think with most actors, but I do share an excitement and a love of parks. I've been to the Sequoias, which was a wonderful experience. I think the more historic, unaffected a park is, the closer it is to its natural state, while still being accommodating, with trails and some bathrooms. I think those are probably the best experiences. Just getting to see nature as nature is, with limited intrusion from people. And I hope that our parks get to continue and that we can, as a people and a society, keep those around for the coming years and the future.
Yeah, same here. I hope that too. I love parks. And yeah, I think as you get older, we've talked about this before, that as you get older, you realize how much of an impact Parks and Rec in your county had an impact on you, how much of an impact it had as a kid. Like public pools and parks that are free that your parents could take you to, where they have all the kid activities and things like that. So yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. Because for the listener, that was a question about like, did your character really loved parks and grew up going to parks and seemed super stoked about it? Were you personally also feeling the same way? So love that answer. And yes, going to all the national parks, I hope that all of our parks can get some more funding and just stay alive for the sake of the community and for the people that it serves. And I forgot to mention in the last one, I really do love that you mentioned Amy Poehler and how nice she was, how busy she was. I think it's always interesting to hear how a director is kind of running their ship. And also with it being Amy Poehler, that was her last episode that she directed. What a gift. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Okay, let's move on.
One interesting thing, funny thing that that I'll share that happened. I mentioned I hadn't watched the show prior, so I wasn't too familiar with everybody's work or even who they were, like as actors. I knew of them, but not the particulars. So there was a brief moment between shooting the scene where we were over in Crafty and kind of getting food, snacking a bit while they were resetting lights. And Aubrey Plaza comes over and to me and the other co-stars for the episode and kind of just, basic introduction and kind of small talk, shooting the shit. And again, I wasn't really too familiar with the cast and who they were. And so initially caught me for a bit of a loop because I thought she was still kind of in character when she came over to introduce and speak to us. So I'm sure that I gave a confused face for a bit of a moment. But hey, on that set, I wasn't really sure if I should expect improv or if it was something. But it ended up being a genuine hello and a positive experience. But that's one of the, I think at least to me, the funny stories that I sometimes share about my time on that set, albeit how as short as it was. I think we were done within 4 or 5 hours. I want to say I got there at 5 and I think I was leaving set by 10 o'clock. To my disappointment, I wanted all day. They could have kept me for hours and hours and hours, and I would have not complained. But all in all, I mean, it was a fun, positive, enjoyable experience on that set. It's, again, as I said, one that I wouldn't trade. Yeah, Parks and Rec.
That's a fun story. I like that a lot. Yeah, because you're right. You never know, especially if you didn't know the show. But maybe even more so if you did, you would wonder if Aubrey Plaza was being genuine or not, or just kind of being her normal deadpan self and joking around, improving, whatever. But that's nice. I have heard that before from everyone in the cast, but I think it's interesting, especially when Aubrey does it, because she does have that kind of demeanor of you're not sure if she's going to be nice or just like how she was in the show, especially in particular, like being mean in that show or, not professional, I guess. So you never know what you're in for. But I have heard that she's very welcoming to the guest stars, and everyone is, which is so sweet because they definitely don't have to do that, but it's nice that they do and that they make everyone feel comfortable and welcomed in, and they say hi and have a conversation. So that's always so nice. Love that. And then the last question was whether Dalon has anything to promote or what we can talk about for him. So let's go ahead and listen to that one.
Well, I do pat myself on the back, humbly, of course, for being a really good actor, again, in my humble opinion, as well as a lover and an understander of character of writing story. I'm doing some writing on my own right now for some projects that I'd love to develop. But it's a slow burn, and I'm kind of keeping those close to chest. As far as promotion goes, one thing that I've always been really bad at promoting is kind of myself in social media, but I can be found on Instagram under Dalon J Holland. That's Dalon, the letter J, Holland, spelled just like the country. On there, some of the recent stuff that I've gotten the pleasure to work on is a suspense short called Tonight I Believed You, that's been making festival rounds and is now live online to view, as well as another project. I got to do a voiceover audio. Episode 4 was Gotham Royale. That can also be found shared via my Instagram. Both of those projects are from some pretty good friends, and I think they're awesome. If you guys have time, check them out. As far as keeping up with me and the things that I'm doing, I think the best place would be my Instagram page. Do post a sometimes silly thing or two, but it's been a pleasure. Again, thank you for sending those questions over and reaching out and kind of just honestly triggering my brain to core memory unlock on the experience and the time that I did get to spend on the set for Parks and Rec. Yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck with your podcast, and I hope it takes you to all the places you wish. Again, thanks for reaching out. This was fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dalon, for sending that. I love hearing all the backstories and BTS. It's so fun. Oh my gosh. So we'll definitely tag him and post him in the show notes and all that kind of stuff so you guys can follow him and make sure that we are keeping up, because yeah, I'd love to see what comes next for him. And yeah, so fun. Oh my gosh. Can't believe that we get to talk to all these people who have been on the show. And that's what I hear a lot from people, that it's a core memory, walk down memory lane that sometimes is forgotten because of, our brain can only hold so much. And then once you're asked about it, it just all comes flooding back and you remember things, or you're asked a question that just triggers something. So it's always so nice to hear the memories. It's one of the best parts of this show. So thank you so much, Dalon. Appreciate it so much. Yay. All right, people, let's move on. Season 7, Episode 6, Save JJ's. Okay, people, original air date, January 27th, 2015. As a reminder, since they aired 2 episodes back to back when this was originally airing, this would have come right after the epic superhero type ending of Ron shooting down the Gryzzlbox and coming to Leslie saying he wants to help her take them down. So we didn't have to wait too long to see where exactly that was going to go, because it all aired on the same night. And if you're new here, that is a fun tidbit, don't you think? I think it is. All right, so this was written by Joe Mandy, the one who keeps interrupting Leslie saying, I'm watching Iron Man on my phone right now. In a lot of other episodes, his character name is Morris, if you guys remember him. Friendly reminder, he was also in, if you listened to last episode, we played a deleted scene saying his search history had Leslie Knope feet. LOL, because he was saying full transparency is fine, and he doesn't think Gryzzl's doing anything wrong. He had a counterpoint to that city council meeting where Leslie called everyone together to be against Gryzzl. And of course, also Joe Mandy was on Modern Family, dating Alex. He also was on the cast and crew for Hacks, like lots of cool things. So this was written by him. This was directed by Ken Whittingham, who, oh my gosh, favorite director alert. I did a whole breakdown on him in his first episode. He's directed so many of Parks, a lot of episodes. But he's also directed so many of our favorite comedy shows, just in general. 30 Rock, Parks, The Office, Abbott Elementary, St. Dennis Medical, Scrubs, both the original and the revival. So, I mean, name a show, and I bet he's been a part of it somehow. So, amazing crew here for writer and director. So good. I'll go ahead and play the summary now from Maddie.
Hey, Park Pals. I'm here to give a summary. So sad that I'm not here today because I absolutely love this episode. Lots of changes, lots of exciting things happening for the Parks gang. But here's my summary for Save JJ's. With movement on the Newport land, Leslie refocuses her efforts on keeping JJ's diner open by going head-to-head with Dennis Feinstein. Tom surprises Donna with Treat Yourself Beverly Hills. I love this episode so much just because, the team's all working together again. They're really jiving. And they come up with a solution that is beneficial to everyone. And I think that's just kind of quintessentially who they are throughout the series, right? Is that Leslie always finds a way to make it beneficial for everybody. JJ's Diner is such an institution. I love that this is how he comes back. There's so many changes in Pawnee, and this is them saving JJ's Diner. Love that Dennis Feinstein comes back, because as much as we all hate him, he's such a great character that has been built. And I cannot remember this actor's name off the top of my head, but I absolutely love him. Love him in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He is phenomenal. Love the reoccurring characters. I love that we're keeping everything alive within Pawnee. And all these people are getting to kind of close out their stories of where they've ended up in 3 years in the future. And I love that. I love Joe's reaction to treat yourself when Tom brings that in the cold open and just explains it, they don't explain it to him. They just keep saying, treat yourself. And I just love it, that whole energy. And, I love that so much. And Tom with Lucy through this episode, you're seeing his insecurities, but I love that she takes the step and she's just like, no, I want to go with you as your date. So, I love this episode, love all the characters, and I can't wait to hear what Holly shares with you all.
All right, so we start this episode with Tom sharing 6 different cakes from the top restaurants in Pawnee for Joe and Donna, and for some reason, Jerry, Larry, Terry. They're there doing wedding cake tasting. And Joe's favorite is actually the vanilla one with lemon cream, but Craig says that was a joke cake to weed out weak palates, which is hilarious. But Donna agrees, and this is so cute that she's being very lovey-dovey and precious with Joe, and she agrees with him and his cake palette, if you will. You know, they got this from the grocery store. Craig got this from the grocery store. So it's not really real, but that's the one they like. And I think that's precious that they can agree on that. And what a fun little thing, because weddings can really bring out the disagreements and the conflict. So I like that they are being cute together, and it's so precious. And I love Keegan so much. I do. I think anything he's in, I'm always so happy to see him. And side note, you guys should look it up. There's this funny video circulating where Keegan is reviving his character on Key and Peele, where he pronounces everyone's names wrong, but he's pronouncing the names of soccer players in the World Cup, and he's mispronouncing them because he's the roll call substitute, or it's the substitute teacher where he does roll call. It's so funny. Aaron. It's so good. So look that up. Let's see. So Tom says that there's one more cake that Donna has not tried yet. And oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. So we learned that Donna said Tom is the butler of honor, which TBH is so cute. And I think a great idea for a title in a wedding, even though he said he made it up. I think butler of honor is fantastic. Somebody should do that. And maybe they have. They probably have. But yeah, I love that. But then they roll up DJ Blunt's Treat Yourself comes back. It's so sweet. And I just love that this is a bit of a surprise. Like, it's not in the title of the show or the episode like we've seen prior. Friendly reminder that DJ Blunt's is played by the same dude that's in all the episodes where he's DJ Blunt's. His name is Adrian Ziegler. When I messaged him back in 2023, he said there really wasn't that much to share, but I did find the email just to refresh myself, and he said, I will share, it was great working with Aziz Ansari and Retta. They were kind, professional, and friendly. They're naturally funny, charismatic, and have personality, ! So I love that. So cute. And thank you, Adrian, for sending that email 2 years ago. No, 3 years ago now. Oh my gosh. Wild. Treat Yourself 2017. Love it. So good. Ugh, you guys, I highly recommend a Treat Yourself Day. And it doesn't even have to be that insane like Beverly Hills, but spoiler alert, but it's so fun. I've done it with a friend of mine, and it's just so fun, and making videos about it, and just go out to eat, go to a rooftop bar, get a drink, get a pedicure. I don't know. Maybe it's only one thing. You don't have to do multiple things like they do, but treat yourself whenever you can. Joe is so confused. This is the first time that he's seeing Treat Yourself. He doesn't understand Donna and Tom's dynamic here. So he's like, what the hell is going on? And what's happening? Terry knows it though, which is hilarious. And again, just kind of a reminder of like, wait, why is he here? Why is he trying the cakes with him? But, he's not really in this episode, actually, apart from that. So he didn't have much going on in this episode. So that's nice that they gave him this of like knowing exactly what's going on, because he's been in the background for when Tom brings in the cupcakes and for Treat Yourself in previous years. So that's fun. Best day of the year. I love that. Love that this final season had a Treat Yourself. We had to bring it back. So good. And I love that Joe is learning a new layer of Tom and Donna's relationship. And hopefully, actually not hopefully. I was going to say, hopefully he'll understand, but that doesn't need to be hopeful because I know he will. But he'll never be invited. I don't think he'll ever be invited. So Joe, that's what I meant. That's when I was thinking, hopefully that you'll understand that you're not going to be invited. This is not your thing, but he will support them in that. So that's cute. Poor Joe. I still don't get it. That's not an answer. Treat yourself. It is cute that Terry knows what's up. So now we're on a show called Trodcast, which is this Larry King type situation. And, but it's funny because, now these podcasts are like these bro podcasts. It's just like so reminiscent of what we're seeing nowadays with, interviews and, that kind of news interview show. I did message Alan McLeod, who he plays. This is the second appearance of Trodcast. He was actually the interviewer in the Wall episode between Pawnee and Eagleton, where they're trying to tear down the wall because they've now joined. And he's the one that when they were doing a city council meeting or a press conference or whatnot, she was like, no, you can go check it. It wasn't a prank. And he was like, yeah, nice try, prank queen. I bet there's bees in there. And it was so funny. I'm butchering that reading of the line, but it was so funny. Anyhow, so he comes back and I asked him if he remembered or had any memories of that day on set, because I still follow him and I'll have to tag him in the show notes as well. But he said, I just remember being so flattered they brought Trod back for the time jump, rather. And now he has a Charlie Rose style talk show. Yorma was super cool and fun, and the whole set was happy vibes. I remember my hair looking like a beetle and wondering if it was like a future haircut? ? Anyway, good times and congrats on making it to the final season. That's so nice. Oh my gosh. That is kind of funny. When you go back and look, it does look like he's like a Paul McCartney haircut. So maybe the beetle hairdo was making a comeback in 2017 when this was based. So he's asking Roscoe, Trod is asking Roscoe about the allegations and the serious implications of data mining. And I just love this commentary of data mining. Like, they didn't think they did anything wrong, but then they checked everyone's emails and texts and personal information, and they did think it was wrong. So yeah, I guess we did do something bad. And I just like how Roscoe is genuine about this. He has a facial expression. Yorma does such a good job of like, yeah, I guess we did do something bad after I repeatedly violated all of your privacy. And so Trod asks, how will Gryzzl win back our trust, which is a little bit of a foreshadowing with what Leslie says at the end of this episode. But they got them tickets to a concert. Gryzzl got everyone in Pawnee tickets to a concert with Beyonce and U2. And I was like, okay, yeah, Beyonce would never. And so they put the tickets on the phone. They're already on all your Gryzzl devices. And it's so funny because I put this together before I saw IMDb, because you know how I read IMDb for the trivia and things like that, and I do my research and whatnot. But I had written, like, I do wonder if this is a joke about YouTube being on everyone's Apple Music / iPhones without being asked, and then apparently everybody on IMDb definitely noticed that as well. So that is actually hilarious. And I'm sure that was not coincidental, because there's no way to get that song off of your iPhone if that's not what you're into. So now you're going to get to see them live against your will. No shade to YouTube. We do like YouTube. It's just funny. So Leslie is with everyone at this point in her office, and she's saying, wow, this is good because Gryzzl is scrambling. They're vulnerable, and we're going to capitalize on it. And so Parks People's new plan is to ask Gryzzl to split the land. So Gryzzl can have their campus, their little tech moment campus, and the rest, they are going to ask Gryzzl to donate to the national park, which I think is a great compromise and a great plan on the Parks People's part, for good PR, good trust back to the community. Since Gryzzl messed up so bad, they might go for it, and they need good publicity. Then we get the kind of backstory, I guess, or like inside baseball moment where Ron says they are dead set on having the entire parcel. He says, I'm not a spy and I wouldn't claim to be one. He says that on every point. And because Adam Scott, Ben is like, do you have to say that every time? But anyhow, Ron says that they're dead set on having the entire parcel. So he doesn't know if that's going to work. And because they're probably not going to split it. Well, at least in Ron's head. But then Leslie and Ron are back together, and this is so cute. Leslie is just like, it doesn't matter. Something is going to work. She's so positive, so optimistic. Like, something's going to work because when we're together, we can do anything. And this is such a cute bit. Just like Lance Bass and Joey Fatone, we are in sync. But they are not in sync at all because with the head pats and the handshakes and... yeah, they just can't get it together with their little secret handshake moment. But essentially, emotionally, they are in sync, which is true. So everyone gets a notification on their phone, and Newport Trust is making an announcement, which is kind of cool that everyone gets a notification and you can just turn it on. But I mean, I will say we have that for like weather and emergency situations and like news notifications, but we don't always get like a video that is just broadcast to our phones, which honestly I'm kind of grateful for. I feel like that might be a bridge too far, but that's what's happening here. And now I will say you can, obviously like get a link and then go to the news article and then click on the link to watch the video, obviously. And YouTube has that notification system now where if someone that you like is posting something or someone that you subscribe to is posting something, you can figure it out. But yeah, it's interesting that this is just kind of like in your face. But anyhow, apparently, side note, the chime sound that comes up when the Newport Trust is making their notification is identical to the chime sound in the series Shark Tank, which was a show that started in 2009. And I went back and listened to it, and it totally is. It sounds exactly the same. If you watch Shark Tank, this is the time when it gets really tense. It's not the theme song, but it's like when it gets really tense and weird, and they want to kind of give you, that emotional feeling. So I'm just going to play really quickly the Shark Tank chime on Parks and then the Shark Tank chime that's actually on the Shark Tank show. So this is Parks.
Huh. Looks like Newport Trust is making an announcement.
And then here's the actual Shark Tank. It is literally the same thing. I could not... I mean, it took so long to find that actual Shark Tank thing on YouTube. Sound on YouTube, but no, those are two different things, two different audios. One was I literally held it up to the speakers when I was watching Parks, and one was from Shark Tank. So that's interesting. That's cool. And I don't know if that was like they got permission to do that or what, but that's really fascinating. And it is tense and weird. So anyway, that's a fun little moment. All right, so the announcement from Newport Trust with Jessica Wicks at first gives us hope because she says, we don't want to work with a business that is going to have our privacy taken and, invades our livelihoods. But then they said that Gryzzl upped their offer to $125 million and they took it. And she said she got really horny, and that's why she wants to repeat it. And I'm like, I know this is funny, and she does such a great job. Oh my gosh, Susan Yeagley, who plays this, is freaking fantastic, and it's so funny. But as an audience member, I was like, no, come on, can't we do something? And Jessica Wicks, why? But I mean, $125 million to a greedy woman, there's nothing, you can't fight that, Or can they? So... anyhow, Leslie says her and Ron are the dynamic duo, so they can figure something out. They'll do it. But there's a deleted scene here where Leslie actually explains her friendship name / dynamics with everyone, and I just think it's so cute. I'm going to play it for you. I love this.
Wait, I thought we were the dynamic duo.
No, babe, you and I, we're the perfect pair. April and I are the gruesome twosome. Andy and I are the random tandem, and Ron and I are the dynamic duo. Oh, and Sandy Bullock and I are the never met sees besties. Well, if it doesn't, something will, because when you and I team up, great things happen. The Unity concert, the Harvest Festival, Brisket Con.
Brisket Con, an entire conference dedicated to smoked meats. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. All the names for the people she works with / is friends with. Love a gruesome twosome moment. And also the people that she has never met. Never met these besties. Oh my God, so good. And yeah, so fun. I would have loved to see a Brisket Con, but just to know that it happened is enough, honestly. So good. All right, so Ron suggests drowning their sorrows in some waffles because they're really sad about the Newport announcement, which is, really sad but nice to offer because we love seeing them eat breakfast food together. It's a really important staple and pillar of their relationship. And then we get to Tom's Bistro. Lucy is asking Tom to sign some checks before he leaves, rather, to, go on his treat yourself day. And that way she gets paid. And she says it like that. And it's so Tom coded and it's so them. It's really lovely to see how they have so much in common and can really get along and, speak to each other in that way. And he asks how post-breakup life is. And she says, it's terrible because post-breakup life sucks. And Donna invites her to the wedding. And Tom just kind of spits out like word vomits before he can even think about it that they should go together to Donna's wedding. And he tries to backtrack saying like, maybe we should just go as coworkers, like literally boss/employee. You know what you should do? You should just come in and do paperwork. Oh gosh, Tom, it's okay. Take a deep breath. But, and him saying like, I literally couldn't care less because he's just so nervous and anxious and is trying to make it seem like he doesn't care at all, which obviously never works. Oh, Tom. Oh dear. But I get it, bro. It's nerve-wracking to accidentally say something that you had no thought come out. So then they just leave it and it's awkward. But then they get into the limo and it's even better. It's amazing. I want this so badly. I think it's super fun when I think I've only been in a limo once in Vegas for a bachelorette. And I would like to go another time when it's just like maybe 2 or 3 people. And it just seems so intimate and fun. Like this Tom and Donna moment just seems so lavish and immense, like expensive, amazing. You know what I mean? So I love that. And then Donna tries to go back and talk about the disastrous interaction with Lucy and Tom. And Tom is like, no, today's about treating yourself. And this is my favorite Tom thing. Well, maybe not favorite, but one of my things that I always remember about Tom is the things, Donna, things. Because that's what he says every treat yourself day. It's not about feelings. It's not about emotions. It's about things. And we're treating ourselves to things. So he doesn't want to talk about it, which again shows how bad he's got it. But then we get this amazing bombshell that Blunt's is not taking us to the mall like we usually do for Treat Yourself. He's actually taking us somewhere we've talked about and dreamed about forever. And we're finally doing it because this is not the way to the mall. This is the way to the airport for Beverly Hills. Oh my gosh. Love, all caps love this so much. They're going to Beverly Hills for Treat Yourself Day. And it is kind of funny too because they're talking about going to the airport when this was actually filmed in LA. So Beverly Hills is not that far away from them. However, from Studio City / Universal, it could be upwards of 2 hours depending on traffic, but for them, it was probably like an hour. So that's amazing. Maybe 45 minutes depending on when they went. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of cool and ironic and fun. April and everybody is at JJ's now. She's saying that voodoo is still an option to get Gryzzl to bow down to them or at least compromise with them. And Leslie is telling us, everything's changing in Pawnee. This town is going to be unrecognizable in 10 years. And we learn, sadly, that JJ's is disappearing. She kind of just throws that out there. And we didn't even know that. It was such a, under the table, like off the cuff remark. And I was like, what? JJ's? No. We need to talk about this fully, which we do. That's what the whole episode is about. But it is funny that we just kind of are thrown that in this scene. And she talks about the changes that have been made in Pawnee. She likes some of it. The standard of living is up. They have a pressed juice bar, multiple actually. She says plural, pressed juice bars, yoga, a pet hotel, all those kinds of things. But some of the changes are not so great or that she doesn't really like. There's too much kale everywhere. Oh, that's so real. That really happened. And you know what? I feel like so many vegetables have a little appearance, have a little comeback at some point. I think cauliflower had their little moment as well. At this point, it was kale. I'm sure it'll be something different next time. It's crazy. Big kale is everywhere. And then she basically cries when she says they offered kale in her milkshake. Like they asked if she wanted kale in her milkshake, which yikes. However, avocado apparently is really good in smoothies. And at first I was like really freaked out about it, but I did have it one time either in a smoothie or something else. I can't remember. And it wasn't that bad because the taste wasn't like an avocado. It was just like for the creaminess. But still, if that's not what you want, it's an affront to Leslie's sweet tooth. You know what I'm saying? How am I going to put kale in there? But anyhow, so we learned that it's not even really a failure, as Ron says. Ron has a kind of a brief harsh truth / mean moment where he thinks that he failed as a business person, and that's why JJ's is disappearing. And he's saying this to JJ, the business owner, but JJ is saying that the person who bought the property didn't even give him a chance to re-up the lease. So there's no way that he could have even tried to keep this business open. And Leslie said she just needs a win. She uses this as her hill to die on, and she vows to save JJ's. After the Gryzzl loss, she really needs something to hold on to hang her hat on right now. Side note, I do need to mention here that JJ is played by the late, great Brent Briscoe. I did a breakdown on him when JJ first appeared, but as a side note, he was such a great small town diner owner. He played that role so well. And, talking to Leslie, being really comfortable knowing everyone's name and orders and all that kind of stuff. It's just amazing. Also, Brent Briscoe, for me personally, I remember him from the Disney Channel original movie where he's the dad of the merman boy. So silly. 13th year. The 13th year is the movie, and the mom is a mermaid. And yeah, y'all, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go watch all the Disney Channel original movies. Stat, and the 13th year should be in your top 5. Okay. So anyhow, but of course, not most people, but a lot of people, I think more people would know him from his famous work on Twin Peaks. And so he's done so many things. He was also in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, it's amazing. But well done, JJ. We love. He was in 5 episodes total, and this was his last one. Well done, sir. We salute you. So iconic, JJ. And I will say, I feel like we talked about a couple episodes ago that, well, this whole season really, that a lot of this season is everyone's last episode was Amy Poehler's last time directing. This is JJ / Brent Briscoe's last time being on Parks. I mean, we're really rounding things out, and I'm just really glad that we are bringing back JJ's, because it's been such a staple, such a pillar of this show and of Leslie's work in the town community. So love it. I mean, and this is where a lot of stuff happened. You know what I mean? It's perfect. So anyway, Ben asks who the new landlord is to JJ, because we want to find out if there's any way we can beat him. And Andy says, was it Putin? Voldemort Putin? Yikes. But that is funny. The company name is called Thigh Gap, this new landlord. Owner Dennis Feinstein, the perfume bastard. Oh my gosh, I was wondering when he was going to come back. There was a couple episodes ago, we were like, where was Feinstein? Why didn't he come in here? Because he's awful. But here he is doing something awful again. So Leslie says they're going to do an old-fashioned public rally, and she asks April to get the word out using whatever it is young people use, which is now, to April, tiny rolled-up scrolls delivered by trained foxes. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. That would be so cute and hilarious. But they're going to have a public rally to save JJ's, and that is the crux of this episode. So Andy thinks it's blimp time because Leslie's like, you thinking what I'm thinking? And this is, a callback to when he said that if we get one blimp and then have another blimp, and he keeps suggesting blimps. But unfortunately, that is not the case for Andy. Leslie says that this is a job for Jonathan Karate. There is a funny scene, deleted scene here, and it's super short, but Ben says he has to break out his CD binder, and I'll just play that. And it goes into Andy talking about his memories of JJ's, and it's really funny. Hang on, I'll play it.
It's not just for me this time, I promise.
I'll get my CD binder. Gonna need some early REM to rev us up.
I had my first waffle, my first omelet, right over there. I lost my virginity in that bathroom over there.
Please, Andy, how many times have I asked you not to yell that?
Oh, sorry.
So much in that 20 seconds. Oh my God. Ben has to get his REM CD so that they can get revved up. And Andy lost his virginity in the JJ's Diner bathroom. And he has continuously yelled it. And to the point where JJ has to remind him all the time to not say that, or yell that. I should be more specific. Oh my God. So good. All right, so then we get Leslie patting Ron's belly because they can't get their handshake right. And so similar to Ron patting Leslie's head, she is patting his belly. And that is their NSYNC moment for this time. I do think it's fun to see this checkout area with the cash register and the pies and stuff. I think that might be the first time we see it. Usually we're just seeing the booths and like the area where the diners are. So this is cool. I like seeing where they check out. So we have this huge rally happening with the waffles. These shirts are great. Save JJ's. Ben's shirt says Karma Police, which I love. And I love that Leslie is building the narrative, aka lying, that this man, JJ, built this place from the ground up. I love JJ / Brent Briscoe's performance here. That's not true. And he has kind of like a nasally high pitched voice that's like very calm and like demure in a way, but not bad, not in a bad way, but you know what I mean? Like very like, that's not like honest, very honest. And that's just not true. I didn't do that. It's called constructing a narrative. Okay. And she is trying to help it. She's doing it for the good. So I guess that's I'll allow it. Ron speaks now into the megaphone, and he says he doesn't want anything to change. And at least Ron is honest as usual. You know what I mean? He says, I don't like rallies or you guys, but I love JJ's. And that's really the thesis. That's really the bottom line of what's important here. So well done, Ron Swanson. And I like that he signs off like he's writing a letter. As he finishes his speech, he's like, Ron Swanson. So now we're at Dennis Feinstein's office with Jonathan Karate and his ninjas. This is so precious. I've kind of forgot about the kids. That's so cute. Oh my God. And the receptionist here says, I don't see a Jonathan Karate anywhere, like on the appointment books. And this is a really fun writing, like ninja vibes of him being like, exactly. And then he goes, they sneak down and where you can clearly see them as if they've disappeared and now they're invisible. So funny. I love it. And I like the receptionist kind of like peering over the desk like, I mean, you're still in here. But she clearly doesn't do anything, which is hilarious. But this talking head is precious. He becomes Jonathan Karate, as Ross would say on Friends. But he becomes Jonathan Karate when they deal with real issues like bullying, peer pressure, holding in farts. All of those things have the same value. And there is a deleted scene, actually, that I thought was really funny where a guy is littering and it shows more of what Johnny Karate does. I could not find the person who played this littering character, but worth mentioning because it got cut. And if you're new here, or if you're not new here, whatever, I like to play all of the ones that got cut, especially if you're an actor. I know how hard you worked to audition for that role, to be asked to play that role, to come to set at 4 a.m. or whatever time it was. So I like to play all of them. And usually I do a little breakdown on the actor. But I could not find who played this. Usually they're listed on IMDb, even if it got cut. But so maybe this was a crew member. I don't really know. But regardless, here is the deleted scene.
Excuse me, sir. Jonathan Karate here to remind you. The ground is not a trash bin.
What is happening right now?
Justice. If you put trash anywhere you want, the world would end up looking like this. Think about it. Ninjas, disperse! Smoke grenade!
So when he says the world would look like this, they knock over the trash can, and then, ironically, litter goes everywhere, and they don't clean it up. And then he just yells smoke grenade, which I really like as far as imagination goes, that there's just a smoke grenade that explodes and makes them disappear, or like makes them have enough time to disappear because the person is so distracted by the smoke grenade. Oh my gosh, it's hard to explain it. I wish I could show you the video, but it's so funny. Anyhow, the receptionist, by the way, at Dennis Feinstein's is played by Darcy Donovan, who's been in a lot of things, looks like. And she's also from Nashville, and she goes back and forth, it sounds like. She was actually in the Nashville TV show, if you're familiar with Hayden Panettiere, and Modern Family, Anchorman, a lot more. So that's cool. Jonathan is the older brother of Johnny, by the way, for Jonathan Karate and Johnny Karate, which, by the way, I don't know that I've ever really clocked that. I feel like I just always thought it was Johnny Karate, but the way he explains it, I was like, oh, they are supposed to be two different people. And I love that they're both named some form of John. You know what I mean? Like the mom named them both Jonathan. Or maybe on their birth certificate, one is Jonathan and one is Johnny. And that's really funny to me. But anyhow, so Dennis Feinstein is gross and I hate him. He's on this virtual reality situation saying, you know, like, baby, that feels amazing. So he's doing some sort of porn situation. Gross, loser, whatever. But he said he has to make it quick, whatever virtual reality thing he's doing, because he has to go pull the plug on his dad in 10 minutes. Ew, hate him so much. And Jason Mantzoukas does a fantastic job of this, and he always has. He has always been such a good Dennis Feinstein. And I love seeing bloopers. You guys, if you haven't seen bloopers of Dennis Feinstein / Jason Mantzoukas with everybody and with Aziz, it's so good. It's so funny because they also improvise a lot, as could be guessed. So yeah, look that up. Or if you have the DVDs, go ahead and get the DVDs and watch them. It's so funny. Anyhow, I was gonna say there's another deleted scene here. They had a lot of Jonathan karate deleted scenes here, and I'll just go ahead and play this. It's actually this might have been improvised, to be honest, but I don't know. So it could have been scripted too. But here it is.
Why don't you ask the people gathering outside of your building right now? Do you know what they will say? Us.
Us? Who? Why were they?
Because the question you asked was who's going to miss one.
Sure.
You asked the question, who was going to miss.
Oh, I get it now.
A dumpy diner.
See, us came too late.
Why don't you ask
You should have said the people
standing
outside.
outside of your building?
It was
right
confusing,
now.
though. You don't have to tell me again.
Do you know what they'll say?
I get it now.
Us.
You know what, man? Let's just go look.
That's so funny. I just feel like it's such a natural chemistry energy that they have between them. So again, that because it's written / acted so well, it absolutely could have been improvised, but I can neither confirm nor deny that. But it's just so funny. I love that because you said, you know what I mean? Oh my God. Perfect. I love those like crime shows when it always, not crime shows, but the comedy crime genre where it's just everything goes wrong. We see, this is where he's going to turn it into an elbow art salon. Dennis is going to turn JJ's into an elbow art salon, which, by the way, is a fun foreshadowing to what Tom and Donna do. That's so, oh my gosh, brilliant. And he sees the people outside his building, and he seems sincere, but he's totally not saving it. So whatever. At this point, the audience thinks like, oh, wow, maybe he changed his mind. Like this really could be bad for business. Anyway, so the kids leave because the colognes could apparently stunt human growth because Dennis is like, you should really get these kids out of here. Oh my gosh. And then we get to the Beverly Hills Treat Yourself. Oh my God. And I love that they incorporated the claps in this song, Hollywood. Oh my God, so good. Fantastic idea to pay people to be your paparazzi. I fucking love this. And I want someone to do this for maybe a birthday or if we do a Treat Yourself day. Fantastic. Or get your friends to do it. I don't know. But to pay like strangers to do that and to like shout your name. They were shouting, Donna, Donna. So good. Then I don't know that we've done that before, at least that I've seen in Treat Yourself Day. And then we're on a Hollywood Star tour, which I, by the way, have never done, like where you can, see their houses and things. Cause I do find it to be a tiny bit creepy, but I don't know. This character name is Devin L. Tour Guide, by the way, the one who's giving the tour. And, with a last name like that, how could you be anything else but a tour guide? He is played by the actor Michael Daniel Cassidy, and he was in Love, Doughboys, The Office, Drunk History, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, a bunch of things. He's also a UCB actor, so I'm sure he had, he probably knew some people from UCB and, the improvising world, so really fun. And apparently Christina Aguilera and Bruce Willis potentially are in the same house because he loops them in on the same one. Was that a 2017 prediction that they'd be together? ? Maybe on this tour? Who knows? But then we're on a rooftop bar with a Hollywood sign in the background, which is so cute. I love this. And this is where we talk about the elbow bedazzling. And it starts at $250. It just starts at $250. Okay. And I could imagine that probably is like two little sticker things, 2 elbow bedazzling sticker things. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've always loved this wardrobe choice, by the way, of this gal who's taking the order for the elbow bedazzling. She's in this bright gold skirt, and like, little, whatever shirt that's showing your stomach. I don't know what that name is. Crop top, I think. Oh my gosh, how awful and old am I to not know what that is? Anyway, I just thought it was so funny and like Hollywood cool, you know what I mean? So funny for the wardrobe. I'm sure if I was the actor, I'd probably be like, oh God, I have to wear this like skin tight thing, but still fun, obviously. So this character name is Trish, as Donna calls her. They are on a first name basis at this point. And she's played by Kamala Jones. And her Instagram says retired actor, quote unquote. So that's amazing for her that she did it. She did the thing. She has a legend as Trish on Parks and Rec and many other things, and I'm really proud of her. She was also in The Office as well, 90210, The Middle, a bunch of other things. So amazing work, Kamala, and I loved her so much as this Hollywood chic person of like that would start at, you know, the LASIK for fingernails, that kind of thing, like matter of factly, like this is how much it is. Do you want it? You know, and Kamala sent us in some voice memos. I'm so excited to hear from her. Okay, let's listen to the first one.
This is Kamala Jones on how I booked my part in Parks and Rec. Did I watch the show before I booked it? Yes. And yeah, it was one of the main shows at that time. If you were working in sitcoms, everyone wanted to be on The Office or Parks and Rec. Those were the shows. And the casting offices for those shows are so difficult to even get into because everyone wants to be on the same shows. So, you know, my agent, Christina Price at Worldwide Artist Group, and Holly Shelton, my manager, they got me into the room. And I believe normally when you go on auditions, you know, you walk in and there's like 50 girls that look just like you or are way better. But in this case, I believe the Office of Allison Jones and Dorian Frankel, they're just a lot more selective with who they bring in. And Allison Jones was the original casting director of the pilot. And oftentimes, what a lot of people don't know that aren't in the industry is that the casting directors that cast the original pilot don't always come back to cast the subsequent seasons. The Dorian Frankel actually cast me. I believe Allison Jones, you know, she did The Office. She did all the Judd Apatow movies, and she's done a ton of comedy movies as well. But Dorian Frankel actually cast me. And it was great. I went in there and I don't even remember if there was anyone in the waiting room, which was very, very unusual. Usually there's a lot of people in the waiting rooms. But I went in and she was just like as nice as could be. And it was just she and I, no one else. And that's also different. A lot of times in casting, you have the casting person, then you maybe have producers, and then you have someone running the camera. So usually, you know, it could be like 5 people in there, but it was just her. And she just made me feel super comfortable and relaxed. And we did the scene, and then she just started improvising with me, and I just went along confidently, and I don't even know what I said or what. I just went on. And I was like, yes, and about some guy, and I think that improv, you have to be, obviously, you know, you want to say yes and is kind of the rule of improv. Like if somebody says something, if they're like, oh, a torpedo landed on the moon, you know, you're like, yeah, and, you know, then I ate a sandwich, or, you know, whatever it is. But like, you always have to add. You can't say like no and you know, or negate what the other person is saying. You kind of just go and build along that. And so she just started improvising with me, and then we just went along. And then you also have to be confident with what you're saying, even though it doesn't make any sense or it could not even be funny. And you try to not go for like the, you know, like the funny thing, because oftentimes like just normal things that come up in improv are like for some reason the funniest. So you try not to go for the joke, but anyway, so yeah, she was great, and it was a really pleasant auditioning experience, which is very rare because usually auditioning, I mean, I'm out of the business now, but it used to be a lot. It could be very, very stressful situations. But yeah, I don't actually remember the sides, like the script, but I think it was similar to what we did that day, about the nails and the LASIKs for the nails or something. But everyone was trying to get on that show and The Office. And I think at that point, I had already booked and shot a couple of episodes of The Office that I was on. And so I think that helped me get in the door for Parks and Recreation. I was very thankful, but yeah, it was an awesome experience.
Oh my gosh, that was a fantastic voice memo. Oh my gosh, I loved hearing everything. First of all, I have a couple corrections to make. Kamala, I said your name wrong, and I'm very sorry about that. Please forgive me. I usually try to listen to these episodes before, but I don't always get a chance to. So, and it's nice sometimes because I like to react to the voice memos as if I'm really having a conversation, kind of, and can, respond. But that's on me and my bad. And then the other thing is that I could have spoken out of turn. That you are a quote retired actor, because I think you still have your manager. So I'll talk to you about that a little bit before, but I'm just including the listener in my thought process. And I'm so glad that you still have your IMDb updated or whatnot, because I'm just so happy to hear these voice memos. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. First of all, yeah, when you said the waiting room thing, I was like, wait, that's crazy. Because yeah, you're right. There's usually like 2,000 people that look like you, and you're just a little bit not thrown off necessarily, but kind of thrown off because you're like in your head and this is existential, like everyone's wanting the same thing as me and blah, blah, blah. So you just try to do your best. So the idea that there wasn't really that many people in the waiting room, and like, you're right, the idea that there wasn't, 4 people, 4 producers, 1 camera operator, 1 casting director reading, the lines with you, that kind of thing, is really cool, very intimate, but also terrifying, I'm sure, in some ways. I mean, obviously, maybe not to everyone. And it sounds like since you had some experience with The Office, or having already done The Office, that might have helped as well. But being on both of them, oh my God, what an amazing thing to say that you did both. And yeah, that's so cool. I love that. And really cool. We've heard that from Dorian Frankel, or people that have worked with Dorian in the auditions as well, that she is very, and same thing with Allison Jones, but for this show in particular, Dorian is who was mostly casting the guest stars, and everyone said that she just made them feel so comfortable, number one, but number two, that the improvising was a huge part of the audition process for so many of the guest stars. Sometimes it was just scripted depending on the role, but that could be scary too, to kind of go in and they start improvising and you're just like, I just want to do a good job, and then you just have to have fun with it and kind of let go that this is a serious audition in a way. So I love hearing that. And yeah, you're right. The commitment / confidence thing is a huge thing in improv. Like, you have to just go with whatever is being said and just commit to the hilarity, irregularity, all of it. So it sounds like you did a great job because you're here. So that's amazing. And by here, I mean on Parks and Rec, amazing. Oh my God. And you did a great job. So they saw that too. And that's, love that. Okay, let's listen to the second one.
How was my day on set of Parks and Rec? It was amazing because it was at the W Hotel on the rooftop bar, which is amazing. And it was right in the middle of Hollywood. And it was a beautiful day outside, as it is always in Los Angeles. But yeah, it was wonderful. We just hung out. The only annoying thing is I felt like which I'll get into in the next question about my wardrobe. I was basically wearing a Band-Aid as a skirt. So I was a little oh my gosh, because everyone's seeing my ass when I bend over, whatever. But yeah, it was amazing. It was like being in a rooftop bar party with, a bunch of celebrities, and everyone's in a good mood and running around. And we actually shot it really fast. Sometimes sitcom shots end up being only a couple of hours and you're done for the whole day. And but yeah, it was up there. We were up there, and it was actually kind of funny because when we were getting into the van to drive to set, I was dressed like the extras because I was a cocktail waitress. And so Aziz Ansari and Retta got into my van with me, but I think they thought I was an extra because I was, dressed like all the other extras in our outfit, but they didn't say anything to me or anything. And then just kind of kept to themselves. And then when we got on set, then we got our places. I think my name was Tammy in the role. I don't even remember, or Tanya, or I don't know, something. But then they were like, "Oh, you're Tammy." And I was like, "Yeah." And like, "Oh, okay." And then they started kind of being a little bit, more friendly. But what surprised me the most, I mean, they're both extremely talented and very knowledgeable about lots of different things, which makes improv great. But what was surprising to me is that on screen, Aziz Ansari is so animated and fun and like, hey, what's up, everybody? But in person, he's a lot more reserved and shy, almost like has glasses, like very like bookwormy. I don't know. So that shocked me a little bit because he's so reserved. And then Retta had, we did the scene, and then we did some improving, and she said something, and I was like kicking myself later because, as improv, you're supposed to be like, yes, and da-da-da. And I'm here with these two like improv pros. So I'm already a little intimidated. I'm like, oh man, I hope I can live up to like what they can do. And then the first time she improvises with me, I said no, and you're supposed to say yes. And I was like, oh no, that's da 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 da. I'm like, dang it. Like the first time this lady, I'm like, oh man. So I don't know. I mean, it was fine, but there was, I was a little intimidated to be around them, but it was working with them. They're great. They're talented, and it was real efficient. I think we did the scene, and they turn around, they do it again from behind, and it went really fast. Everyone was just, the whole mood on set was just fun, easy. Everyone was in a good mood. And it was very efficient. Like everything was done, and then we were out the door. And I was like, oh, that was easy. So yeah, it was a great, easy experience. I really enjoyed working with both of them and everyone on set, actually.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have so many things to say. Number one is that I'm pretty sure I had looked up where the hotel was that this was shot, and it had said online it was the Garland Hotel in Los Angeles, which is iconic, famous, kind of like a Spanish villa type of hotel situation. Beautiful. But I wasn't quite sure. And so I looked up pictures of both the W and the Garland as you were talking, and the W does look way more familiar to the scene, and I'm going to trust you instead of the internet at this moment. But yeah, the W does look correct as well because it has the foothills of the Hollywood sign in the back, I believe. So I'm going to say that's right. But regardless, I did see online also that the Garland may have been where, if you guys remember, the Pawnee Soup, it was like the Pawnee Super Suites in the Win, Lose, or Draw episode, which was the season finale, where Leslie is waiting to see the election results, and they call it the Jermaine Jackson Ballroom, which was actually the Garland Ballroom. I think that was correct, but on the website that I found said that it could have been the Garland for the rooftop as well for this episode. But I think it looks like the W, so I think I'm going to have to just make a trip out to LA and see for myself because either way, I do believe that Park shot in both of them. I'm just confused on which one. So I'll say that this is the W for sure, because it just looks like it. So, and you said it, and you are my first source, and that is true. But your name, if you are curious, Kamala, was Trish. So close with the T name. Yeah, that's funny. I wouldn't remember either. This was so long ago. And yes, we've heard a lot about the van stories. I love hearing when guest stars say that they rode in the van to set from base camp to the actual shooting location. So that's funny. And yes, I've seen that too in interviews that I'm intrigued about. Both of them, I think, have, Donna / Retta may be a little bit more similar to like who her character is. But I agree that Aziz, I think, is a little bit more reserved than he comes off on camera. But he can tap into that so well, which is why people think that he is Tom in real life. But I've seen that in interviews where I'm like, you're like speaking like a professional, grounded human. It's a little off-putting sometimes because you're so familiar with him as Tom. But yes, oh my gosh, the wardrobe thing is so funny. I'm so glad you mentioned it. And that is the next listener. That is the next question that I ask her. So she wasn't just bringing that up, although I would have completely welcomed it because that is absolutely how I felt. That's what I said. I was like, oh my gosh, if I was the actor, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so fun, but also like, what? So let's go ahead and listen to the next one.
And the wardrobe. Did I like the wardrobe? For me, personally, no. But for the character, absolutely. The skirt was so teeny tiny. It was like, I think it was like an American Apparel like bandage thing. I don't know. It kind of reminded me, there was like this brand called Units in the 80s. It had like bandage belts. So it was like a skirt / belt that I had to wear. And and with the halter top, it just felt a little, for me personally, I dress more modestly. And so it was a lot. And the wardrobe people were amazing. Kristen Mann, they were so nice and so sweet. And they asked me when I went in for the fitting earlier, like I feel like it was a week before we shot, and they could tell I was a little uncomfortable just because how, revealing it was. And they were like, we think you look great, but if you're not comfortable, we will find something else and we'll just buy a bunch of that stuff. They were so sweet and so accommodating. And I was like, it's fine. As long as you can't see like my cheek hanging out in the back. Oh gosh. So, but yeah, it was, did I like the wardrobe? For me? No, but for the character, yes. But yeah, Kristen Mann and the whole wardrobe department, they were just so wonderful and so sweet and so accommodating. And usually they don't, costume people usually don't just revolve the outfits around, the actor's preference, but they were super, super sweet and nice. And so yeah, when we were shooting and I had to like bend down and hand the menus to Aziz and Retta, the camera crew, was behind me because they were shooting over my shoulder. And I just remember bending down and like turning around in between takes and be like, was my cheek hanging out, like, and laughing about it? And they were like, no. I'm like, yeah, right. It's just like, sorry, not sorry. I don't know. It was kind of funny, but yeah. So I did like the outfit for the character, but it wasn't something that I would have worn outside of that. But yeah. So it was fine. I should have probably sucked in or stood up straight, but whatever.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. And no, girl, you looked fantastic. It was great. But I do love hearing that, yeah, for you personally, I agree. I would not wear that either. But B, no shade to whoever wants to do that. And C, so sweet that the costume people were so nice and so accommodating and making you feel comfortable and warm and friendly, because we talked to Kirsten Mann before. We actually interviewed her and she's fantastic and so lovely and nice. And so I think that's amazing that they were trying to talk to you and say, like, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. But because, yeah, you're right. Like, that's not normally how it goes. Normally, it's like, this is the thing that we've selected, and if you don't want to wear it, you're fired. You know what I mean? Which, to some crew's credit, I mean, it has to be what it has to be in a lot of ways, but that's what's so lovely about Parks, I feel, is how collaborative it was and how human it was, so that's really funny to hear. But yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I asked you about that and so glad you were willing to share your story, because that's so funny. Because I agree, yeah, for the character, great. For real life, maybe questionable. But again, no shade to who does that. But that was a big deal. Like you said, it was the American Apparel, or I don't know who, like, it's like Wet Seal or whatever the hell. Is Wet Seal the makeup one? No, that's Wet and Wild. Anyway, it's like those Express type vibes, Hollister vibes that was really big in like the aughts, you know what I mean? That might still be. I don't know if that's coming back or not, but anyhow, that's so funny. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing. Okay, we've got 2 more. Let's listen to the next one.
Anything else that I'd like to add that okay, so for people who don't live in LA, this is kind of funny that everywhere you go, I mean, anytime I'm from Texas, so anytime I'd go home and visit friends, they'd always be like, oh, what celebrities have you seen? And I'm like, everybody, everywhere. Like, it's everybody, everywhere. There's always celebrities everywhere. And so when you live there, you just don't think, you're like, oh yeah, that's, Matthew McConaughey, that's Leonardo DiCaprio, that's, so it's like no big deal. But when we were up on the roof shooting, they were getting ready for, because we were earlier in the day and it wasn't going to take that long. And then they were having some kind of DJ party. The W Hotel was. So they were kind of getting ready for that on like the other side of the bar and like on the other side of the pool. And then just like when we were wrapping up, like Macy Gray was there like DJing and singing. And I'm like, this is the most LA scene. Like we're filming Parks and Rec. We have Macy Gray over there DJing like to, us, I guess. It's just such a funny experience. But yeah, that's the only random thing I can think of that happened.
Oh my gosh, what a crazy day that must have been what a surreal experience and something that does not happen on every Parks guest star's set. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And yeah, like you said, I mean, that's just like quintessential LA. Like that's what people think of when they think of Hollywood glam. And a treat yourself day in particular to see Macy Gray while you are doing elbow bedazzling. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Life imitating art and art imitating life is just unreal. That's amazing. I love that story. Whoa. So great.
I've actually retired from acting, but I had a great time doing it. I loved every second of it. And I got to work on some amazing shows that I'm truly grateful for with some wonderful, wonderful, talented people. And so I don't need to promote any of my stuff anymore, but my agent actually does consulting for new actors who are just starting out and advice and all that. And she's a wonderful, trustworthy person. And so her information is on Instagram. It's at C2BizLabs. So it's at C and then the number 2 BIZLABS. And I just feel like it's a good she's a good resource to have for advice, because a lot of times when you're new, you have no idea what you're doing, or you move to LA and it can be daunting and scary. And it is nice to get advice from someone who's in the industry and you just feel taken care of, or just help you navigate through all the noise and craziness. Cause it is a pretty unusual industry, but it's also really fun. So that's all. Thank you.
Oh, that is so sweet. That's nice of you to promote your agent's business and her consulting. Yeah, and you're right that it is so overwhelming sometimes. So even if I'll follow her too, because even if you're not new, I'm not new, but it's always nice to have information and resources. So that's very sweet. And okay, I'm glad I didn't misspeak and that your Instagram bio was correct, because yes, I do see that you are retired. And yeah, I love the way you speak about it. It's really lovely. And like I said, it's nice that you can be really grateful for your time and, talk to us about it and love your experience, but kind of do what you want to do now. So that's exciting. And we'll definitely tag/post the agent's information in there. So yeah, love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the amazing voice memos. Those were so, so fun. I'm so glad we got to talk to you. What a treat. Oh my gosh. A literal treat yourself day for me to get a couple of voice memos from 2 different actors on this one episode. Amazing. Okay. Thank you so, so much. Okay, so moving on, I wanted to say I love Tom and Donna's outfits as well. I thought they looked really great for Treat Yourself Day, so that's worth mentioning. And then $600 for the elbow bedazzling that Donna wants, I think, where she says, I want 2 diamonds and then diamonds all around that. And Trish is like, okay, that would fall under our premium package, starts at $600. And she's like, okay, great, do it. And then the LASIK for fingernails, Tom says he came up with that. I do remember that was one of his business ideas. And Tom is like, yep, okay, go ahead, laser my fingers off or my fingernails off or whatever. And it's for $275. Wild. So that was a fun little moment. That's the end of our rooftop little section. Back at the JJ's rally, Dennis starts to get nice. He comes out, and then he fucks it up, and I hate him because he says JJ can stay. But then he pulls a psych. Like, what a douche to say, like, psychopathic rage-baiting douche. You know what I mean? To say psych. How old are you, sir? Anyway, but again, like I said, great character to get us riled up. And then he says, release the hounds. And it's not actual hounds. It's just an FDA-rejected cologne that makes everything smell like wet dog. Oh, wow. Wow. Side note, according to the internet, when he comes out to announce JJ's is staying, he says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, stop the clock." Apparently, this is a reference to Howard Stern's head of security and limo driver, Ronnie Mund, who popularized that phrase. So that's fun. They do a couple of Howard Stern's references, if you will. Like when Ben says "Baba Booey," that's from Howard Stern as well in the Snake Juice episode, or The Fight, I believe it's technically called. And it's wild that they have that prepared. You know what I mean? Like they're like snipers on the top of the roof, but instead of having guns, they have this security of the Hound perfume. Oh my gosh. Which, I mean, that makes sense. He's not a liked guy. He's a pretty hated guy. So I'm sure he has to have some sort of security. Although they did get in there pretty easily. So it is Pawnee after all. So Leslie says there's no way to keep JJ's where it is. And April has a stroke of genius, a brilliant stroke of genius, and says that JJ's have to stay where it is. Like there's a ton of buildings where her and Andy live, and they're all super cheap because they're empty and also disgusting. Also, why didn't JJ think of that? I wonder. Like, not the April's suggestion necessarily as far as it being in that part of town, because I know JJ has discrepancy or, concern about it being in a bad part of town, but like, why didn't JJ think of getting another building? Was it just too expensive? Maybe ? But he said he wanted to re-up the lease. So I was like, interesting. Maybe he just kind of gave up because he was like, this is the place where it's always been, and this is just the end for me kind of vibe. I don't know. So now we're at a sushi restaurant, and no one says it online. I mean, there are some Reddit threads that say it, but I don't believe that it's been officially confirmed that this is Nobu, the restaurant, the sushi restaurant, but I do believe 100% that it was supposed to be modeled after Nobu, which is a famous, like I said, famous sushi restaurant that a lot of celebrities go to. It's very expensive. It's in Malibu, so I think the Kardashians I think they might have actually made it popular on the Kardashian show, and just it's very, very well known. The biggest, I think it's the largest location is in the Malibu one, but they have other locations throughout LA. And I believe I want to say they have it somewhere else too, like not just in LA, but regardless, it is famous, and I'm pretty positive that's what it's supposed to be modeled after. Super swanky spot, lots of famous people. But the idea that all the fish is made from fish that were previously ordered / owned by celebrities is not real. Well, that I know of. I'm sure, I wouldn't put anything past Hollywood, but as far as we know, that is not a thing. But that is something that they made up, and it's so perfect. It's such a great writing moment here. The waitress comes over to serve the Charlize Theron's yellowtail, Paul Reiser's salmon, and Peter Bogdanovich's saltwater eel. And I thought that was a really funny mix of actors to have. And this actress who plays the waitress was fantastic. And sadly, unfortunately, she actually passed away in 2015. Her name is Jen Oda. Jen for short. Jennifer's her full name. And online, it points to cause of death being gun violence. And, out of respect, I'm not going to mention any other details or anything like that. But she was 31, and she was fantastic. I mean, she was great in this. And I did some research, and she was great in everything. She was in Star Trek. She was also a singer. She played guitar. She looked so happy. She looked really involved with her friends. Everyone posted such nice things about her. She definitely left a legacy, and I'm just so sorry to hear this and know that she's not with us anymore. But we're thinking about her. We are definitely a fan of hers because she was so good and just so sweet and fun to play that role. And I'll be posting some resources as well, because for those of you who don't know, gun violence is a cause that I care deeply about. And I mean, if you've listened to this podcast or you follow me at all, you know that. So yeah, thanks to Jen Oda for playing this wonderful role. And I'm really sad to hear that. Tom is checking his phone every 5 minutes to see if Lucy texted him, and Donna points out that he has it bad and that he's very obsessed with Lucy. And Donna says that she got Tom something, but she didn't buy anything because Tom is like, "You're not supposed to get me anything. I just have a piece of advice," says Donna. But Tom wanted the shoes that Jaden Smith wears in Hitch 2, Son of a Hitch, which, by the way, is not a real thing, although that is brilliant. What a fantastic, again, with these predictions for 2017, I think that before I was watching the show as an analyzer of the podcast, I didn't really take such notice of it, but especially now that I'm making notes and things, I was like, oh my God, this is so hilarious with these predictions. And I think Tom has always been a fan of Hitch and has always talked about like sequels and things for his fave movies. And also just the brilliance of Will Smith was in that movie. And his literal son is Jaden Hitch, and the movie name is Son of a Hitch. Oh my God, I don't know. I just think that's funny, and I like it a lot. I think it's brilliant. Oh my, it's thundering outside. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, so Donna says you have to be upfront. That's my piece of advice. Tell Lucy how you feel. And Tom says it would be awkward because she works for him. What if she doesn't feel the same way? He's the only one that caught feelings. And, you know, Donna just reaffirms him and says like, yeah, okay, but you'll never know unless you ask. And when it comes to matters of the heart, treat yourself. Treat yourself. Love that. And almost forgot, she did get those shoes from Hitch too. Yay! That's an even better gift. Love that. And those shoes are so Tom. Oh my gosh, the little like slipper things, they're so good. And then Josh Groban. Oh my gosh. All caps, Josh Groban. Love. He had a soft shell crab at some point because that's what he orders. And I love that he was in both The Office and Parks. Like somebody, the writers or somebody has to be either friends with him or just be huge fans of him because I'm not really sure that he auditioned for that. Okay. He was famous by that point. So somebody must have asked him, and that is just so hilarious. I love whenever he's in a TV show or acting. He's so good and so funny, and not what you'd expect from this like very serious operatic type singer. So I love that so much. And I love that Tom says it's that's the most baller thing he's ever seen. Ugh, so good. Oh dear. Okay, so now we're at Beachview Terrace with the abandoned vehicles, the famous raccoons everywhere that we've heard. We haven't heard from the Pawnee raccoons in a while, okay? So it's nice that we're seeing them again. Well, nice is probably a strong word. But Leslie calls this area the sad, broken down armpit of Pawnee. And I love the comment that they tried to clean it up and they sent a street cleaner out to try to clean the streets, but the raccoons ate the wheels right off of it. Wow. Those raccoons are amazing. And I love that they're paid actors. So we learned that Councilman Dexhart represents this district. I love this piece of knowledge here that we learn where he was representing his people. And I also love that we are learning why it's named Beachview Terrace, like when there's literally no beach, because that's kind of what I was curious about when she says it at first, where he was going to clean it up and he had this whole, that was like one of his main things that he ran on his platform to be able to clean this area up, but he just gave it a fancy name instead of actually cleaning it. Such a Dexhart thing to do. Oh my gosh, so good. So this realtor comes in to this building and she says, you know, sorry I'm late, but I thought this was a prank call because they've had this listing forever and no one's ever been interested. 7 years. Wow, that's no good. This is played by Susan Isaacs, by the way, which fun and friendly reminder that she sold Leslie her house, the house that her and Ben are in. The one where Ben proposed and Anne goes to visit with her and they play a song when she says, I want to buy this house. And it's just so cute. And she apparently was also in the episode Woman of the Year. So she's had 3 appearances and this will be her last episode. And her name's Martha because remember when she bought or when she sold Leslie her house, she was like, well, and Leslie was about to back out because of, you know, everything that was going on. And she was just like, okay, Martha, because Martha kept saying, you know, I can't give you the lease back, the security deposit, move out, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Martha. That's what I remember. But anyhow, that's cool they brought her back and that she's been all over the comedy world. She's been in a ton of things. But yeah, this will be her last episode. Again, season of lasts. So JJ says, like, even if we could fix this place up, you know, make it cute, like everything would have to magically change. Nobody lives in this part of town. It's not really safe to visit. And so everything around here would have to be different and, you know, clean and safe for people to come to. And people would need to eat out and spend money. And the whole area would need to be refurbished, which is a huge undertaking. But then this is where Ron and Leslie really are in sync emotionally, maybe not physically with their little handshake things, but they have this beautiful moment where they don't even have to have full sentences to know what each other is thinking. And it's so, so lovely. She's like, you thinking what I'm thinking, PR, and we don't really know what is going on, but they do. And Leslie's like, okay, look, we have 5 days to do 3 months of work and they can literally accomplish everything they want. Who's in? And then Herman Lurpus comes in. You guys, Herman Lurpus, this fella, what are you doing here? Where did you come from? Floor hole. I love this bit. They give him this like character knowledge or character thing about him where it's this attribute of Leslie asking where he comes from, and then it's somewhere random and weird but so matter of fact. Like when he comes in, friendly reminder, he comes in to suggest Disneyland, he pronounces it that way, for the Newport land to be sold and make it like a theme park. And he has this drawing that looks like a child did it of all these, Ferris wheels and rides and stuff like that. And she asks how he got in, and he says, broke a window, as if it's totally normal, because it is to him. And so we've got the broke a window, and now he came in through a floor hole. So where else will he appear from next? Reminder that this actor is played by Richard Birch, who I have not found any info on, and maybe I'm just lacking, but I can't find his email, and I don't know if he maybe retired from acting as well, because I haven't seen him in too many other things. But again, I feel like it's just so perfect in the canon of my head that he appears from floor holes and just disappears after in real life as well. Like, I feel like he appeared to this earth, did his role as Herman Lurpus, and left. And it's just so funny because I would love to talk to him and ask him about his experience. So yes. Anyway, back at Tom's Bistro, Lucy asks how the trip was. Tom shows us his bedazzled elbow, and I gotta say, it's not as cute as I thought it would be. This whole bedazzling elbow thing sounded really kind of like interesting and weird and unnecessary, of course. But I kind of thought of it as like a henna tattoo, or even like a temporary tattoo, that kind of thing. And it looks like you went to like a kid's birthday party and just stuck some stickers on your elbow, which maybe that's what it was supposed to be. Definitely not worth $275. Although maybe they were real. Maybe they're supposed to be like bits and pieces of real diamonds, and that's why it's so expensive. But I doubt it. Anyway, she says things were uneventful, back at home, back at Tom's Bistro, and she brings up Donna's wedding. But before she can even say anything, Tom tells her and takes Donna's advice in saying that he wants Lucy to go with him as his date. And he doesn't want her to feel weird because she's great at her job, and he wants her to work there forever as long as she wants to. And so he transfers all the day-to-day operations to Craig, so there's no conflict of interest, and we could go together and not have any sort of weirdness. But as he's saying it, he backs out, just like he did at the beginning, where it's like, because he's so nervous, where he's like, you know what, never mind, I wasn't even serious, you don't even have to go with me, it's not a big deal, I won't feel weird if you don't say yes, I'm not even like, it's not even true, it doesn't matter because you've been hoaxed. And I do feel like he could have waited to sign that paper until after she agreed or disagreed, but I do understand it was a good faith action, so I understand. But I do kind of maybe feel like, since she said yes, which I buried the lead there, she says yes, she wants to go as his date. She was going to say that before he even had his little spiel. So that's a lovely little moment there. But I still feel like maybe they should just sign that paper, ? I mean, because it is technically still a conflict of interest. However, this is a restaurant business, and dude, everyone dates / does everybody. So maybe it doesn't matter as much. If it was like a corporate thing, maybe it would matter more, like signing a release, if you will, or some sort of like acknowledgement ? But whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that they are now going to go to Donna's wedding as a date, and I'm very excited for them to finally get there, because last episode we talked about how they were talking about we liked that it wasn't rushed, we liked that it wasn't too immediate, but and that she didn't break up with her boyfriend immediately, and that they didn't immediately start making out after she broke up with her boyfriend. It took a little bit of time, but not too long. It's nice that it was kind of just one episode after. So, love that. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, it's 5 days later. Roscoe is meeting with the parks people in Beachview Terrace area. LOL at that name. Which, side note, it is kind of sad to not see Tom and Donna there, because it's all the parks people except for them. But I get it. They have their own thing now, and it's the right thing on the writer's end. But it's still weird to me. I'm not used to it. Anyhow, so it's 4:13. So Roscoe says you have 7 minutes. And if you get that joke, there you go. I'm not going to explain it. So they say they just bought the land for their campus. So why would it be here? It's not here. And Ron is like, you'll spend even more, though, for plumbing, electrical, constructing the campus. But this place already has all that. It just needs a little fixing. And this is where they're suggesting that Roscoe / Grizzle buys this area and fixes up this land and does everything for the town. Ben gives them a complete proposal, which is crazy. That is like a lot of work to have a complete proposal in 5 days for this massive undertaking. And then Roscoe, I've always loved this line when Roscoe's like, is this paper? Super throwback. Like he doesn't use paper at all. At all? That's really funny. But also not completely, misunderstandable. Yeah. And not completely out of left field because we don't really use paper that often, but the idea that he doesn't use it at all is really funny to me because it's probably true. So anyhow, this could be a bigger campus, says Ben. The campus comes pre-graffitied, says April. And he says they wouldn't have to hire Banksy, which is so funny. I'm sure they're spending lots of money on Banksy because he is actually a famous graffiti artist, if you didn't know. He's very talented, has galleries in quite a few cities. So look him up. If you might be in a city that has a gallery of his and you can take a look. So anyhow, but all that to say that he is expensive, so they would be spending more money on that. And this one already comes pre-graffitied. And Roscoe is like, well, what are we supposed to do with that forest, or like that we already bought / paid the Newport people for? Or in his words, they spent hella skrilla on this trill forest. Oh, Lord. I remember Tom saying trill, and I was like, yikes, that's weird. But it is a true / real slang word that apparently all the hip people say. So anyhow, Leslie tries to speak his language, speaking of that, and says oh my God, well, here's a far out idea that came to the top of my brainium, but she can't do it. She can't make it through speaking like that. So she says, donate it to the national parks, donate that forest that you already bought from the Newport land to the national parks, get some tax breaks. And you need to build trust with the city. And he's like, well, we could build the land here and sell the land we already got. And Ron is like, yeah, you could, but this would help with your PR, like Leslie had talked about, which you desperately need. And Leslie is right. You do have to earn the people's trust. You have to invest here. You have to invest in the people. You have to show us that your word is good and valuable, because right now they are in deep water. And let me tell you something from someone who lives in a small town. If you fuck up, you don't repay the townspeople, we will remember it. And it's not just small towns, but in particular small towns, I think people care about this. And this is the way to do it. This is the way to build the trust with the town, make your word mean something, have it be valuable, have the economy grow, have people actually believe in you. It's really important. And it doesn't seem like it, but it is. And Roscoe's like, okay, well, I'll think about it. I'll take it to the board, the legal senior advisory team. And it's so funny because you start to think oh my gosh, Gryzzl's actually way more professional than I thought. They have all of these, professional boards in place and people that are on an advisory team and consulting and things like that. What? But then he says they're shrooming hard at Coachella. So they're doing drugs. Well, you can have it both ways, ? I don't know. Can you? Maybe. So once they get back from shrooming, they will get into it. They'll talk to it. So then we've got the song Hits from a Bong coming on his Gryzzl watch. And now it's 4:20, so he's got to bounce. Andy has a meeting apparently as well, so he leaves. And it's TP time at Dennis Feinstein's office. Yes, Jonathan Karate, one way or another, he always gets his man. And do keep in mind that he did suggest TPing the office before. It's so funny. This is okay. So I think this is why they cut the first deleted scene that I talked about, where, it's like he says us and it seemed like it was improvised, and they're just kind of bantering back and forth. This is the part I think that they kept in, which I'm glad that they did, where one of the ninjas disappears and we lost a buddy. We lost Gavin. Who was Gavin's buddy? Why do we even have a buddy system, you guys? You need to tell me if Gavin is pooping, okay? And it's so hilarious. And honestly, it just shows what a good dad Andy would be, but also what a messed up / chaotic time, but also super fun that he would be as a dad. And he's like, oh, Dennis, what a mess, because it's not even Gavin that's missing, and Andy was the buddy for the person that's missing, for Hunter, Gavin, Caleb, whoever the hell it was. It's so funny. But I don't know if they did this on purpose, but this is Andy talking when he asks where Gavin is, not Johnny Karate. And this is a lot like when the kid got lost at City Hall. And April points out that Johnny Karate actually made the kid feel very scared and made him uncomfortable, whereas Andy is the one who comforted him and was the one who showed him the way, made him feel safe, found his mom and things like that. And I really like that he's not in character here when he is talking about like, let's find the person who was the buddy, when he's trying to be a helpful adult. You know what I'm saying? So I really love that. And I thought that was worth mentioning because, like I said, I think as a dad, we'll see little pieces of that character in him. So back at Very Good Building, which is, Ron's business, Leslie says, this might not work. They're drinking whiskey again, reminiscent of their Leslie and Ron times 2 episodes ago. And when they were making up, and Ron is like, no, don't worry. It will work. It's going to work. And at first you're like, you said that it might not work. At the beginning of the episode, you were not on board with this. It might not work. So you're like, why are you being so optimistic? And it's because it's been a week and they haven't heard anything. And then we learn that, well, because Leslie says, how do you know? Why are you so optimistic? And he's like, well, they called 3 hours ago and approved the plan. But first he says that, like you said, we can do anything when we're together. But 3 hours, that's way too much to let someone stew on this. Like he should have told her immediately, or at least within the first hour, not 3 hours. Oh my God. But I love this moment though. It is very cute when she's like, you jerk, we did it. You jerk, we did it. And she just can't decide which one she wants to land on because they're both equally true. And she hugs him and he doesn't approve, but she doesn't care. And I think that's a really special way to end the episode of them, the dynamic duo, getting it together, getting it done. And yes, it's just very optimistic, very exciting that this was the plan that they had to get them to not only come together, because we've gotten to, endings to the questions that we had of like, are Ron and Leslie going to be friends again? And B, how is this Newport land going to work out? Because she's literally going up against millions of dollars versus $0. And so I say this every time, but this season is truly so brilliant from the writers and from the directors, and the actors as well. But the way that the writers really wrapped this up and made us believe in this team is so astounding and so beautiful. And as an audience member, it's so rewarding because they really did a good job of making us question what was going to happen and then giving us that relief, that belief that we know and love from these characters, that when they work together, when they pull through, they can really do anything. It's truly beautiful. And I know that sounds really cheesy, and I don't care because it's true. And that's what good television can do for us, is make us believe in something. And I think that they ended this episode so well. And to save JJ's, in addition to saving the Parks land, and also compromising. I mean, it's so nice. And I know that it's fictional, but to see a win in the government is just beautiful. And I don't know. I like it. I like seeing it. I like hearing it. I like watching it. And I know it's a fake land, but it could be real. And I'm going to keep hoping for that. So anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to Dalon. Thank you to Kamala, I'm sorry. Ugh, I'm the worst. I'm not going to edit that out because I need to edit myself. Okay. Anyway, thank you again so much. We are moving right along. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. Hopefully Maddie will be back with us next week. Let me know if you have any questions or anyone else you'd like to talk to. And, yeah, let's keep it going. Thank you so much and hope you have a good rest of your July. Can't believe it's almost the end of the summer, but we'll see you for the next one. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.